Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, I want to try and keep it as simple as I can because we're talking about the ABCs of CBDCs. It's a lot of letters, I know, but central bank digital currency, that's the term we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to give you at least two topics on each letter, the letter A, the letter B, and the letter C, to try to tell you what the concerns are for when these are released next year in 2023. And hopefully this video, it lasts a while. You could share it. You can help people to understand what all the bad things and why they don't want a central bank digital currency. Let's break apart CBDC first. And let me point something out. Now, we all know, you may or may not know what something like this is. This is CBD, all right? And the packaging is not by accident. It says relax CBDs. There's a lot of CBDs that are now available on the market. I got, this was at the market today. So I got this as a prop. It's a tax write-off now too. But hey, the idea of, hey, it's one letter off of CBDC, I don't think that's a coincidence. And this is something that's completely allowed, and it allows you to relax. And it's going to be an elixir. It's a cure-all. Well, CBDC, they're going to pitch it the same way. So let's break apart CBDC first. CB, central bank digital currency. That's the full name. The CB part, the central bank part, that is not good, and that's been around for ages. This is the third time the United States has had a central bank. It's been around since 1913, and having a central bank means that all banks point back to one bank. In other words, there's one central bank, commonly referred to the Federal Reserve, and then all the other banks, the major banks, point into that, and then the regional and the local banks, if they're part of FDIC or they're part of that network, they're all part of the same national bank. And that national bank is neither federal nor does it have reserves. But what they do have is a central point of control over the financial system. That's not good. So that system is in dire straits right now. We have inflation. We have these dollars, these $5 Federal Reserve notes, which they didn't used to be. They used to be $1, but now they say Federal Reserve note instead, because they're a debt instrument. But what used to cost one of these is soon going to cost one of these. And as that happens more and more, especially after the November elections and everything, after that smooths out, I'm recording this on the election week, so I have no idea how that's going to play out. But what I do know is that there doesn't seem to be an end in sight to inflation and the loss of the purchasing power of these Federal Reserve notes. So they're not going to be able to solve that in November or December. And by the time they're ready to release these central bank digital currencies in 2023, they're going to look at that as, hey, it's an elixir. It'll solve this problem. The problem they pretty much created. It's been out there for over 100 years. They keep kicking the can down the road of inflation and losing buying power. That's why your dollar buys less, more and more and more. So what they're going to do is they're going to pitch this as, hey, this is the new digital currency, and this will solve the problem of inflation. But it's really just a way to extend the life of the existing financial system. Now, here are the reasons why we don't like central bank digital currencies and why you should be opposed to it, even though it's coming and there's no way around it. They're going to give it to people as much as they can because they want to push this system. So I'm going to give you two answers per letter of the ABCs of CBDC. First letter, letter A. First one is going to be availability. They're going to make this very available to people. They're going to create an app that you put on your smartphone, and they will airdrop it to people. They will try to make it equivalent or even better than the current pricing of the US dollar. For example, let's just say that gas is $4 a gallon. It might be $7 or $8 by the time it's released. I'll say it's $10 a gallon. At some point, somewhere in the country, in the middle of 2023, is the gas. I'm not going out on a limb too much here, but I bet gas is $10 a gallon. It wouldn't be surprising to me that this new currency, which I'll call Fed coin for the lack of a better term, this Fed coin, they may say it's going to be 1-to-1, or they may even say that it's 10-to-1, for example. So if it's $10 for a gallon of gas of these guys, so you get 2 gallons of gas with one of these, you may get 20 gallons of gas with this new Fed coin. So people will say, hey, that's better. It may not be quite that ratio of 10-to-1, but don't be surprised if it's not 1-to-1 of the Fed coin to the Federal Reserve note. So in other words, $20 here is not going to match $20 of the Fed coin, whatever that turns out. But the CBDCs, the first thing they're going to do is make it very available. So the availability, they're going to make it everywhere. They're going to flood the market with the CBDC, this Fed coin. They're going to make everybody download an app, and for the price of downloading that app, you will have this central bank digital currency inside that application and be able to buy stuff with it. So this is probably how they're going to put out universal basic income, or UBI, which is basically, imagine getting money for doing nothing. Okay. They just give you, because you give them information, you're allowed to, you comply with the app, whatever the rules of the app are, and they give you the funds, the coins, in exchange for that privilege of having that access to you. So there's another A. So you have availability and access. Access, they want to know everything about you. They want to know what you're spending the currency on. They want to know where you're going with it, what you're transacting in, what you're buying, what you're selling. They want to tax everything. They want to know full control to get rid of cash. They can't trace. If I give you $20 for something right now, if I go out and buy a silver coin at a shop for $30 or more right now, that's not a trackable event because I could do it with cash. So you have no idea if I buy something for cash, where does the history? Where's that traceability? So by making the Fed coin available to you and making it accessible to you, you've given access to them so that they can track what you're doing and where you're spending, and they can make you comply. That'll be another C later on. But availability and access, that's the first two reasons that that's the first two A's of central bank digital currency. And that's not good, because you don't want to give them access to what you're doing. You're giving away some of your freedom, some of your ability to spend your hard-earned wealth as easy as possible, or without being controlled or surveyed. So that's one of the concerns, is the A's. The B now, with central banks, right, with the way that banks work right now, and since 2008, last time the banks almost collapsed, they adopted new rules. And part of that rule is, if you're in the FDIC part of the equation, you're one of those major banks that has that federal deposit insurance. You're part of the central bank conglomerate. I'll say all the banks that feed into that one. You're part of that family. You're part of that system. Well, now, if you have Fed coin as part of that system, you get it now. That they will have the ability, like if you're given that money, they have the ability to bail it back in. Much like right now, all of your money, all of your currency that's in a bank right now that has FDIC insurance, first off, it's only insured about 1% to 2%. That's the only reserves that they have for FDIC. So it's way underfunded for the insurance. So it's a false sense of security that you think the FDIC is going to do anything. Secondly, there are bail-in rules, and those are different than a bank bailout. And we had a bank bailout in 2008, the too big to fail, where they just dumped money at the banks and saved all the banks. But as part of that, there was a new rule that was passed. I think it was 2010 was the year. It was called the Dodd-Frank Act, I believe. And what they did was, like, every major bank or bank with a certain size had to have bail-in rules, or actually they had bankruptcy rules. And one of those rules became a bail-in. And what a bail-in means is that they will take all of the assets under management, all of your accounts, which you've already, all that legal paperwork that you sign when you open up the account, it's buried in there, that they will take those funds and they will allocate them to all their creditors above you. You're basically the low man on the totem pole. So if you have $10,000 in the bank, you think it's safe because it's FDIC insured. One, it's only insured for about $100 to $200. And secondly, it's probably all going to be bailed in to pay off the bank's creditors and investors if that bank goes belly up. So that's the biggest risk to bail-ins. Also, if banks start holding cryptocurrency, which a lot of them are looking to do right now, 2023 will be the year where they offer all their members to be able to buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and we'll hold them for you. Well, if you take your dollars, or your Fed coins and translate those into Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else and let the bank hold on to them, well, if the bank goes belly up, they basically taking all of your value, all of your Fed coins, all of your Federal Reserve note dollars, translated those into cryptocurrency of Bitcoin, and now the bank gets to keep the Bitcoin if they then goes into bankruptcy rules, and who knows what happens then. But certainly I know that you don't get your Bitcoin. So the bail-in is the first B that's a problem. The second one, speaking of Bitcoin, is they're going to promote central bank digital currencies as another Bitcoin. They're going to name, that's why I said Fed coin. They're trying to make it sound as much like Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency that's done very well as possible, because they're going to say, well, you missed out on Bitcoin when it was a couple bucks and now it's $50,000 or whatever the price is next year. So you can't buy a Bitcoin, but you can take Fed coin and have Fed coins instead. They're going to ignore the fact that the difference between Bitcoin and Fed coin is remarkable. Bitcoin has a limited supply of only 21 million. Fed coin will have an unlimited supply, so there's no upper bounds. They can just make more, much like they can make more of this stuff. Secondly, Bitcoin is decentralized. There's no government that's controlling Bitcoin. That will not be the case with a central bank digital currency. The fact that they have central banking means there's a central control over that Fed coin. So for those two reasons alone, it's not even, it's apples and oranges. It's not the same comparison whatsoever. But they'll try and spin it somehow. They say, hey, it's on the blockchain, and it's cryptocurrency. They won't come out and say that you're going to make the kind of gains that Bitcoin did for people who got in Bitcoin early, but they will market it as best they can and get right up to that line without saying it to try and make you think that you're going to make, I'm going to make so much money by owning Fed coin. It's not going to happen. But watch, that's what the marketing will be. So the B's are bail-in and Bitcoin comparison. Now, the C's. I've already talked about, what was the C? Well, I'm going to go with the two that I'm going to go with control and compliance. So let's go with those two. I know I mentioned the C word earlier. I've already lost it now, but first one's going to be compliance. When you download this new app that allows you to get Fed coin, you're going to have to comply with whatever the rules are of that app. So that means if you agree not to buy guns, not to buy silver or gold or cryptocurrency with it, then that'll be the rules. And they may have those rules imposed on you. So whatever you could do, you have full control. When you have this stuff, you have full control where it goes. All right. For the most part, you can decide, if you're going to give it to the kid down the street who from mowing a lawn, or if you want to go buy, stack up a few more and go buy a gun, or if you want to go buy something else with it that's or silver or gold, you can do that. That's perfectly fine because you control that cash. You can decide where it goes. If you do the transaction in cash, they have no visibility to it. So, for the most part, especially if you go to certain places that it's an all cash transaction. Just think about going to a yard sale. You buy whatever you want at a yard sale, and no one has any idea that you did that. But if you go to a central bank digital currency where they have tracking on it, you're complying and giving them access to control what you do. So that's the first issue. The second form of control, and so this is the bigger one, control, is they can control you a number of different ways. First, they can impede on what you can buy. They can control whether you can, buy, this or that. But they can also control or push you towards how fast you spend that money. So, for example, if they give you 1,000 Fed coins a month, but they expire at the end of the month, they are going to basically force you through time or negative interest. Maybe that in a month it'll be worth half. I mean, they take it all away. I don't know, but through pushing these new rules, they're going to control you and say you have to spend this money. So what that'll do is that'll create more circulation in the new version of the financial system that they're building around the central bank digital currency, and they will try to control it that way. Try to increase the velocity of just moving these CBDC coins through the system as fast as possible to try and get rid of these and move you to a Fed coin or something similar. So ABCs of CBDCs, availability, access, Bitcoin comparisons, bail-in, control, compliance. Those are just some of the reasons why you shouldn't be looking at central bank digital currencies as a savior or a rescue plan, and why people are going to be really confused next year when they start to hear about this, and everybody that wants to push it upon the masses look at all the positive aspects, the positive spins, and the things that we know are inherently bad about a financial system. So, a lot said today. I love to hear the feedback on this one because this took a little while to put together. I really love to hear. Did you have a different something I didn't highlight that you would add to the conversation? Because I'm sure I'm going to be talking about CBDCs again and again. But I'd love to hear your feedback on the ABCs of CBDCs and what you think about it. Leave a comment below. Share out this video. Help people understand what's coming down the pipe or down the pike in a couple of months. It could be in the middle, as soon as like April, May, June of 2023. We don't know yet, but we know it's coming, and it's definitely 2023. So with all that said, I'm going to close the drawer on the bureau, say follow leader one more time, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.